I'm Howard Cosell, and with me here in ABC's New York studios is, of course, the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Now we're about ready to show you selected rounds of last Monday's heavyweight championship fight in the Astrodome in Houston. We shall begin with round one, and Ali, if you will, I'd like you to do the voiceover as we view the initial round of the contest.
Well, yes, Howard, I'll be glad to. As you know from hearing the radio of the fight, now there I am saying my prayers to Allah, as I usually do before every fight. As I was saying earlier, I'm glad the people in the American television audience who have been distorted by the press and their view of the fight, they can actually watch this now. There I just hit him with a flurry of punches.
You started fast.
Well, yes, I always like to start off fast sometimes, especially in this case. Now I'm concentrating on just moving, feeling him out, dancing from side to side, staying on my toes, and Terrell is stalking me. I understand that his intentions were to corner me. As you see, he's missing his jabs by a long range. And I understand from reading the press write-ups that blindness caused him to miss in the later rounds. And I'm sure that if he was blind, which I don't believe he was, he can't hit me now.
I'd appreciate it if you'd stop editorializing unless I ask you a question as we go. I don't want to distract the viewers from the fight. And I want to make it very clear to the viewers around this country that when you say the press is distorted, this is you speaking, your opinion, not the views necessarily of ABC or Howard Cosell.
Right, and this is not only me speaking, the movie that you're watching now is speaking also.
Let's let the film speak for itself.
And I'll speak along with it.
In terms of boxing.
He just rabbit punched me once, which was a foul. Now he's hitting and holding, that's a foul. He's hitting and holding, that's a foul. And I heard nothing about that in the press and the critics. There I just jabbed him. There he just missed about 2 jabs.
George Chuvalo worked with me at ringside, scored the fight for me, gave this this round to Terrell. So did many of the writers.
Well, if you watch it, it's easy to see that I'm winning. If you know anything about boxing, he's rabbit punching me now. That's about 6 fouls he just landed. About 6 fouls I read nothing about in the press. He hasn't touched my face yet, and I think I've hit him a good 10 times in the face, so I don't see how he won that round. He just missed that jab. He caught me with very few jabs. He just missed that.
Yeah, but you kept moving in the way you did against Liston in Miami Beach.
Yes, I always move.
All right, you were respectful of him at this stage of the fight, weren't you?
Yeah, I respect all of my opponents. I just hit him with another jab there before you. Now he's rabbit punching again. That's another foul right there.
And that's the end of round one. We'll be back with the start of round two right after this message. All right, we're ready for round two. Ali, you take over.
I'd like to say highway for the press and the people who will be watching the fight, and on the behalf of ABC, that this is unrehearsed, and I'm speaking on my behalf, and I'd like to tell all of the critics there to not to criticize Howard Cosell, because he's only doing his job at interviewing me and showing the fight, and I'm talking for myself and in defense of myself.
We don't want this to be a forum for you. Let's be clear about that. Tell us about the fight.
Yes, Howard, that's now you see me putting my guard out and blocking his punches before he threw them. This is a style that Jack Johnson used. I'm feeling him out mostly, staying on my toes. They told me he had a hard, fast left, and I'm watching that also. There he's fouling me now with 2 and hitting on holding and hitting 2. He committed about 5 legal fouls there. And I'm saying this because so much emphasis is put on me and my fouling. There's three more fouls he just committed there. And the referee now is telling him to keep his punches up. As you see, he was hitting me low, below my belt. And I think it's real hypocritical to, there he just butted me in my stomach. And if I had moved, he would have hung himself in the ropes. But it was my body that stopped him from running outside the ring. They'll just hit him with an uppercut and 2 hooks. That's another jab.
Why isn't he using the left the way everyone expected?
Well, Howard, he tried, but I just wasn't there. And as you see, he's jabbing, but he's missing. And this is before the time that he was supposed to have been blind, and they say he saw 2 or 3 figures. Well, the way he's punching now, he still sees 2 or 3 figures. Films don't lie. That's why I'm glad the people here in the American public can watch and see the film at the same time. And I'd also like to say that the sports writers who were at the fight, the way they wrote about the fight was really terrible, and I just hope that the news writers that we have reporting news from other countries are not as wrong as they are, because it would be hard to tell when they get the truth.
Let's not have a political forum, Muhammad.
I have to defend myself, Howie. All of the press and the people were against me for just doing my job at beating Ernie Terrell. He was out to beat me, and I was out to beat him. And as far as the fight being a brutal 15 rounds is concerned, that's up to the referee. It's his job to stop it if he think deserves stopping. It's up to the doctor to stop the fight and the judges. So don't criticize and condemn me for whooping Ernie Terrell, because either he was going to beat me or I was going to beat him. I just did my job.
Let's pick up with Muhammad doing the voiceover. This was the round that really settled the fight.
Terrell just missed 2 jabs there, and that one just tapped me. Those 2 missed. And I'd like to say how it was really discouraging to see a man such as me with his guard down, no defense, and can't hit him, and all the time he's hitting you. This is really discouraging.
Weren't you surprised by his adoption of the peekaboo style?
Well, yes. He realized that his speed didn't match mine, nor did his hitting power, so he seemed to be fighting just to stay. There, I just tagged him. I just hit him with a hook, a right hand, and he's just about going. I thought I had him. I hit him with 1 hook. I hit him with a right hand there. That was a 1-2 punch, a 1-2. That was another 1-2, but they missed. Those missed because he has his shield up. And I have to give him credit. He really blocked a lot of them, and he had the nerve to come back fighting, as you see now. He's coming back. He threw a few rabbit punches. He's shook now. I really put all I had on him, and right now I'm trying to take him out, but you see he's got his guard right there. It's hard to come through it, and it takes a lot of energy. It tires me to constantly throw that many punches, so I had to take my time, because when I had him shook, he wouldn't go. So I had to resort to dancing and moving in order to keep him tiring myself out. But I'm jabbing him and keeping him off of me. He's just walking into me. He's not concentrating on punching himself. He's just walking and looking to block, looking to survive.
Suddenly, he is no longer a taller man than you. You notice?
Well, if you notice from the start of the fight, he never was really too much trouble because I'm too fast on my feet. There he just missed a good 1-2 punch, and that right hand grazed my jaw.
Only grazed you?
Right.
Looked better than it was.
No, it really didn't hurt. I was just grazed. There he just hit on the break again, which was a foul.
That time he did seem to be groping for you blindly.
There he's, speaking of blindness, Howard, if you're watching, he's blocking my punches. He see them coming, and he's hitting at me. And if I wasn't as fast as I was, he would hit me. as you see, he's not punching and acting like a blind man. He's right on me. He seems to see pretty well.
So the end of round 7. Round 8 will be coming up in a moment right after this message.
Are watching Howard Cosell with Muhammad Ali. Bert, what's your take on Cosell? Because again, following him in his later years, he was a guy who would take on the NFL and be highly critical of those in power. At the time, clinging to Muhammad Ali, was he an opportunist or someone that was gravitating towards someone who was fighting the establishment at that time?
The Cosell-Ali relationship was probably the most unusual association since Professor Rorschach knocked over his inkwell. You didn't know what the hell these two guys were doing, but they played off each other very well. I know Howard would tell you he made Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali would tell you he made Howard. That's probably closer to the truth. Howard did champion Muhammad Ali, both in his name change, the first person to do that, not call him Cassius Clay when everybody else did after he changed his name, but Howard did. Championed his stance against the draft. And yet Howard was Howard. Howard, insecure in every respect. Loved to tell, and I was up at the ABC studios one day when he stepped out in the hall and said, "Guess who just called me? Cal Van Hill," to which Roone Arledge shouted, "Howard, go back in your office." So he wore his associations like bracelets. Ali was one of them. I mean, and Ali could play off of them, saying, "Howard, you're nobody's fool, you're everybody's fool." Or, "Howard, I wish I were a dog and you were a fire hydrant." See, he'd do that. Now, Howard loved Ali. He then loved and championed and associated himself with Sugar Ray Leonard. What is interesting is when there was no more Ali in boxing and no more Sugar Ray Leonard in boxing, he found it, if you will, convenient to step away from boxing because there was no one.
After the Tex Cobb fight with Larry Holmes. It seemed disingenuous at that point then to suddenly abhor the sport.
Yeah, I mean, he had followed it because it helped make him. But still, I listened to Howard, and he really never knew what he was talking about, but he never was afraid to loudly express his opinion.
Very well put. Let's go back right now. Again, it is Muhammad Ali and Howard Cosell. As Cosell started to ask Ali about his taunting of Ernie Terrell in this fight.
It is extremely important to show you viewers round 8, because this is where I believe the real controversy about Ali began. You will see him flagrantly taunt his opponent, vocally, as he belabors him with punches. And I think you were wrong when you said before that all the press is writing about is the foul blows and the foul blows. I don't think they've been unfair to you there. The big question as far as the press was concerned was your pitiless taunting of this man. Now, how do you defend that?
Well, I'll defend that like this, Howie. I told the press before the fight, I faced Ernie Terrell as a man to man, and I told him that my name is Muhammad Ali in the world, and the people know my name is Muhammad Ali, and this was the approach. And he deliberately insulted me publicly and said my name is Cassius Clay, when it's not so. I told Terrell, I looked the press right into their eyes, and I told them that I would do this. So I don't see why they're so shocked and so surprised.
All right, let the public judge as we look at the beginning of round 8 and as they see your behavior in the ring.
And I'd like to say another thing, how as far as my behavior is concerned, I'm not, it takes a man to apologize when he's wrong, especially when he don't have to apologize, which I don't. But I will say that the ring was no place for me to just stop fighting and start talking, as you will see earlier. And it was my manager, Herbert Muhammad's verbal punishment after the fight, which is making me say what I'm saying now. And that's to Ernie Terrell and to all of my sports fans, that if it's that bad and wrong, which I know it is in a way, I do apologize for stopping and using the ring for a speaking rostrum when it should have been used for boxing. So that's all I can say for that. But it's done now and it's over. There he's missing jabs, as you see. There he just had his palm of his glove in my face. And many people, however, are saying that I shouldn't have beat him like this, that I shouldn't have beat him for 15 rounds like this. And I like to say it's my job to fight. It's my job to beat him until he falls or beat him until someone stops it. If I don't, he's going to beat me. So it's the referee's job to stop the fights, and it's the judge's job, and it's the doctor's job to stop the fight if he was beat so unmercifully, as the press said. There I just hit him with a good hook, a couple of good hooks.
You were screaming, "What's my name?"
Not then, not yet. I'm saying something, but I forgot. My blood was hot. I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter, and it's kind of hard to hold me down when I get hot. But right now I'm asking him, "What's my name?" And I think at one time he did say Muhammad Ali. It was in a clinch. He said Muhammad Ali. I do remember hearing him saying Muhammad Ali. There I'm saying, "What's my name?" Which my manager, Herbert Muhammad, criticized me and verbally gave me a good lashing. So I have to apologize here on the show because I was wrong for talking. But I'm sure that he would have rather for me to talk the whole fight than to hit him. But I have to say he was a man. He did take it, Howard. And I have to say, I don't think I could take that much punishment. I've never really been hit too hard. And a man being hit that much, and as you see, he didn't quit. He's still fighting. They can't criticize him for stopping, as they did Sonny Liston and many more fighters. There you see me asking him what's my name, which is wrong again.
Going to pick up with the 14th and the 15th. But before we do that, I want to ask you this. You have now apologized on this show to the people, to the writers, for taunting Terrell. Do you think words...
For talking to him, not for whipping him.
No, but for taunting him vocally.
Yeah.
Do you think words of apology now can get back what you've lost in terms of image? Do you think it really makes up for anything?
Well, Howard, I'd say one thing. This is an awful weak excuse. And I think the American public out there who witnessed this fight, who's watching this show, knows that this is an awful weak excuse for the press to use and not recognizing the fight as the way it was. One fella, he's either crippled or he's got a bullet in him. That's the excuse. The next fella is he was old, or the next fella he was his arm was broke or his back was broke.
That relates to you
now
as
it's
a
my
fighter.
talking. Now it's my talking. Is what's the reason for not seeing the fight like it was. But I think the people who's watching the television now can see that the report that the press gave was awful distorted.
No, they can't see that. They can see the fight.
Mainly.
What they couldn't see was your behavior pattern. The fact is, reporters, many of them printed it,
well, that's
cruelty in your eyes, the malice in your voice.
I'm out to be cruel. That's what the boxing game is about. He's out to beat me, or I'm out to beat him. And as far as the fight being cruel, as far as the fight being a cruel, brutal 15 rounds as they print it, I think it's the referee has the authority to stop it if it's so cruel. The judges have authority to stop it if it's so cruel. And the doctor who was in his corner at each round had the authority to stop it if it was so cruel. And if I had stopped it, it wouldn't have been legal. He would have won the fight if I had stopped. So it's my job to whip him.
You are not a stupid boy.
Thank you, Howard. You're not as dumb as you look.
Let's look at rounds 14 and 15. They should be coming up in just a second. Stop smiling. You're not so funny.
And if you watch him, Howard, he sees all of my punches coming, and he's also punching back at me. He's following me. And I think if a man is blind, he couldn't do this. So I think blindness is another excuse Terrell used for losing this fight. I just hit him with a hook there. That was two body punches and a hook. He just missed a fast left jab.
I wish you had told our viewers, Muhammad, that
hook.
we had picked up the 14th round in progress and will go directly to the 15th without a break.
Right. They just missed a wild hook. Now he's holding me. He's deliberately holding me, stalking for rest. And as you can see, both of his eyes are puffed and swelled. And I don't think that that incident near the rope did that. I think they were the punches that bruised him, which is not an honor. I'm not bragging to bruise a person, but just explaining the so-called foul. Well, the cut over his eye and his bruised face, I'm sure, didn't come from a half a second on the ropes. There he just put his palm of his left hand in my face again, which could blind me if I'm not careful.
I still don't understand why you couldn't put him away.
Well, I tried, but he just wouldn't go. It's best I can say. I just won. If I put him away in 1 round, it's bad. If I put him away in 3 rounds, it's bad. If I talk to him, it's bad. If I whip him clean, it's bad. And I'm just wrong if I do it and wrong if I don't.
You really persecute.
Well, not really. It's just everybody have a right to their own opinion, and I don't think that the newspapers and the editors of the whole papers know that the reporters are doing the job that they're doing, because it's really unfair to the fans to come away distorting things just outright with evil intentions.
You've just spoken about 32 mouthfuls, each of which is subject to 32 different retorts. You realize it?
I'm telling the truth, that's all. And if you tell the truth how on this show, if you defend me like you usually do, you will catch criticism too. And I'll say it for you.
I have never defended you. I have never gone against you.
You defended me greatly when I fought George Chuvalo. You stopped the punches. You showed the low blows. This man has hit me low. He has rabbit punched me. He has hit me on breaks. He has butted. He has put the palm of his glove in my face, and you haven't said nothing about that yet. I understand why.
I think the pictures are speaking for themselves with regard to the fouls. I don't personally think the fouls are a real issue in this fight. Your behavior pattern is portrayed by the American press a very definite issue as it relates to you, your image. I don't see that a man's privacy of worship, his right to his own religion, or a man's utilization of due process with regard to his military posture before the government.
And I
don't see that they're involved. And nobody has said they're involved, and the press hasn't said they're involved.
Can you box? All I will say is this. You have your say. If I'm going to be judged by the American press, which are white people, mainly white press, white people, not the Negro, then I think that if I'm going to be judged for talking to a man, then you would be awful, awful guilty if you were judged for the wrong and the things that you are doing every day and have been doing for the 400 years for the so-called Negro in America.
In the meantime, a lot of people are now going to say you can't punch. You couldn't knock them out.
That's all right. I could punch after Williams, but I can't punch now. They change every day. I don't pay no attention to them. But you have a lot of nerve to spend so much millions of dollars in press time and criticizing me for talking. I wish all other people did to people was talk to them. I think what I'm doing now is worse than talking to him. You should be criticizing me for whooping him. That's worse than talking. Why make such an itch over talking? That whooping is what you should be mad about. That's what y'all mad about, the whooping. You're using the talking for an excuse. So, Howie, I don't want to get hot here on the show.
Oh, you got hot enough in the ring after the fight, you remember?
I have to say, he's really a man, Howie. I got to give him to him. He kept fighting. He didn't quit, and I was surprised. The man's eyes were closed, but he still kept coming. He just wouldn't quit, and he took my best. I have to be a man and tell the truth. He took my best.
We're less than 30 seconds away from the end of the fight.
He's hitting low now, Howard, but the film didn't show it exactly, but I didn't stop it. I'll criticize it. There, I just hit him with a volley of punches. There, he's holding me and pulling me over the rope and hitting me. He's hitting and holding, which the crowd is booing.
And so the fight ended, an overwhelming victory for Muhammad Ali.